Is it time to give up on precious metals? Chris Vermeulen from the Technical Traders.com joins us today to talk about that and more on this week's episode of Metal Money. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. Chris Vermeulen from the Technical Traders.com. Welcome back to Metal Money. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back on the show, Patrick.
Thanks for coming back. Appreciate it. Chris, from August 4th to August 9th, we've seen silver drop over $2. What, in your opinion, is going on where we saw this price movement?
Yeah, it's obviously we've seen this with silver for the last year. Every time there's a half decent rally starting in silver, we have these massive red sell-off days where it's a big red bar, there's huge red volume spike. Obviously, someone is unloading massive amounts of contracts and driving the price down. I don't know why they want to drive the price so hard and really just kill all their profits. I mean, silver fell yesterday in pre-market just from the opening of the futures to the early morning crash that we saw. Silver fell like 8.5%, which is pretty wild. So I don't know who it is or why they're doing it, but I mean, it is kind of strange that someone constantly just slams the charts, slams silver with huge volume. And I've got a if I show you my chart real quick, it's a really good visual. If we look at silver here, so here's the 10-minute chart of silver, and this is going back. This is very beginning of August. So if we were to just kind of look forward a little bit here, you can see August 4th, massive volume. This is the 10-minute chart. A huge volume one day driving price down. The next day, another bloodbath. A huge one on the 6th on Friday. And then we saw yesterday this huge collapse in silver. And it is quite a drop from the early morning high down to this low. It was 8.5%. And then it rebounded right back. And there's huge volume yesterday, more selling pressure today. I think the selling pressure yesterday in the afternoon and today, this morning, I think it's a little bit more of investor fear now starting to take over, and people are starting to panic that silver is actually, it's crashing again. I want to get out. So I think we're seeing mass kind of fear, and that's where the volume's coming in today, because the amount of volume we're seeing now, typically if that was to hit the silver market, it would just absolutely crash it. But right now, it seems as though this is just mass market selling. Somebody out there is accumulating all this selling pressure that's going on in silver, but it's very clear that someone is unloading and trying to drive the price down, because it makes no sense that you give away almost 10% of your profits just to unload a whack of shares in literally seconds when you could drag it out over 5 minutes and keep almost all of that, right? So somebody really has a fat thumb and is playing, either manipulation or it's a huge error mistake. Somebody doesn't know what they're doing and they're just hitting the sell button and unloading shares. But I highly doubt it's a mistake.
According to TF Metals report and Craig Hemke, someone well respected in his knowledge of the COMEX, Craig says 30 million ounces of silver were traded at roughly 6:45 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday night, even before Asian markets opened up. I mean, who would sell off that much silver at that time before Asian markets would even open up?
I know, and that's what I'm getting at. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. His post was priceless. I mean, it was amazing what he said. It's who absolutely must sell 30 million ounces of silver on middle of August summer, at 6:45 in the morning. I mean, no one really, I think, has to unload that many shares all in a split second. I mean, it could have been dragged over a couple minutes again and it avoided almost the whole crash. So it really makes no sense. And I mean, there's all kinds of theories out there. The reality is silver has been trading sideways for over a year. Every time it gets up, we see big volumes slam it back down. It's been trading in this range between more or less $22 to $29. And until it breaks out of that range, it really is choppy, kind of dead money on the chart. And so when it does break, if it breaks below 22, and closes down there on a weekly basis, it could get pretty ugly. And on the flip side, if it can close above 29, I think we could see a huge rally. So this is a lot kind of like the Bitcoin pattern that we saw play out over the last couple of months. You just have to wait. Silver's in this sideways mode. Which way is it going to break? Whichever way it breaks, it's going to be a big move. So you just got to wait and then take action when the time comes.
Yeah, which way will it break? Looking at the silver daily charts, we did have a golden cross back in July of 2020 where the 50-day moving average crossed above the 200-day. And then since then, we've seen twice now. This is the second time right now where we are seeing where that 50-day looks like it may actually go under the 200 moving day. We're looking at a death cross coming out. Is silver's bull run over?
I don't think so. I mean, it is still holding up in a major bull flag pattern. So it is still bullish. Today, we are seeing that death cross where the 50 days cross below the 200 day. That being said, those are some big, slow moving averages. You're looking at a year delayed data to get that stuff. What that is telling us right now is that silver's lost its upward momentum. It is now stalled. It's starting to lose some of that momentum. But the price pattern is still holding up. If we can hold above 22 on silver, then on the futures continuous contract price, I think it's still primed and ready here. It is oversold. It's at support. It's in still a major bull market. So technically, buyers should step in. Price should rise from here. But we really need to see if it's going to hold 22. And if it does, then we need to see if it's going to break 29. And then, we're going to be in the high 30s or 40s very quickly if we break to the upside. So it's still in a bull market. I don't put too much insight into this bullish cross, the death cross, the golden cross, whatever you want to call it, because they're just super slow and delayed. But they do tell us that it's lost that really strong upward momentum, and now we just need to see where it's going to break.
Okay. Would that 22 be your worst case scenario number for silver? Because last time we had you on, we were looking at some pretty heavy resistance at about that $28 level. And now we're looking at about 26, where there is a new resistance level. I mean, what were support levels have now become resistance levels. And now you're mentioning 22. Would that be your worst case scenario for silver short term?
Short term, 22 better hold. If 22 doesn't hold, I think we're going down to 18 or potentially like 15. It could get really ugly the way this pattern could play out. So that's kind of the scenario is we need 22 to hold, or else it's going down to pretty much $18.50, $19 is going to be the next kind of support level where it should hopefully have a bounce. And we just have to see what's going to happen there. I mean, the US dollar index is on the weekly chart is on the verge of breaking out and starting a really big rally here. And if that happens, I think we might see silver potentially poke to some lower prices and kind of shake things out. Now, silver broke into a bull market earlier, mid last year. We haven't really come back down to test that level. A lot of times we come back and test that bull market breakout zone. And so technically, if we fell down to that $18, $19 level, that is testing that breakout. That would also give the stock market a bit more of a complex correction where it's going to spook the majority of the speculative traders out of it. And there's going to be a big volume surge. It'll actually end up being potentially a very strong buying point going forward. And so it's not the end of the world if it breaks down. All it's doing is postponing, I think, the inevitable, which is a major silver rally. But the market always has a way of dragging things out and shaking most people out before it makes that move. And everybody's watching, I think, 22. It's the lows we saw back in like August and November of last year. If those levels are broken, there's going to be a lot of people bailing on silver, which is good because it's going to shake the market up. Put those shares, those contracts in the fresh hands that want to hold for a long time. And then I think we can see silver start to build a base from a lower level and then work itself back up.
Okay, Chris, how about gold? What support levels do you now see for gold?
Yeah, when we look at the gold chart, gold had a pretty interesting move yesterday. Yesterday, gold actually hit a Fibonacci measured move. And I'll just pull my chart up real quick so you can actually see that. So this will be the daily chart of gold. And tell me when you can see it there. Okay, so this is the daily chart of gold. And I'm going to zoom in just to this most recent price action. And you can see how gold had this drop and then formed this bear flag. And we had this death cross on gold a while ago over here. And this is right where silver is right now. Silver just had the blue line cross below. This is the 200-day. This is the 50-day. So silver is equivalent to over here. And gold is kind of stuck in a downtrend, making a series of lower highs. It's on the verge of making a new lower low potentially. But if we use technical analysis, use Fibonacci extension, how this works is it tells us the momentum, the power in the most recent move, where that power should carry through going forward. So you take the high, we take the sell-off low, and then we take this reaction high, whatever this high is over here, and we can just carry that forward. And you can see that if I move this up, gold collapsed in the last week, came all the way down pretty much. That to me is close enough to hitting 100% measured move. That means based on this drop and this flag, there's enough energy built up in gold that if it collapses again, it's going all the way down to make 100% momentum thrust. And this is close enough. It's also these previous lows right here, which is why it found support there. So gold has made that move. Gold to me is at support. Silver literally hits a similar type of support yesterday with that spike low. And hopefully this market's going to try and stabilize. I think we could see gold and silver both potentially come back down and get close to these lows and maybe chop around here for a little while, really scare people. But then I think they're gonna start to recover, and then hopefully it'll start to build a platform and start to break out. And so a key level on gold is going to be somewhere around this blue line here, this 1840 level. When gold breaks that, that's going to be the start of a new uptrend, more or less. If we start to break down below this level here, which is 1675-ish, if we break and close below that, gold's got potential to drop a lot more. Let's take a quick look and just see where gold could potentially fall from this area. So the next key level will most likely be somewhere right down around here, which is around 1600. Reason I say that is because it was a high over here. I'll just draw on the chart real quick. We've got a high. We've got a high. Price broke out of it, came back down, tested it, and then broke below it, and then came back up and busted through it, tested it again right here. So there's a lot of volume through here. It's also a whole number on the chart. 1600 is where investors and traders say, when it's in a downtrend, they say, well, if it's going to fall to 1600, I'm going to buy some more ounces. So these whole numbers typically act as a support level. And that's one of the reasons why we probably saw gold have a bit of a bounce there yesterday as well. It came right down to 1700. A bunch of people probably saw it happening. They had orders in, and of course it bought it right back up. So every $100 increment in gold is going to be a fairly significant support level or resistance level, depending on what side you are. So keep your eyes peeled for potentially $600 washout low in gold over the next, I mean, at the rate it's falling, the next week or two. But I mean, this could take another month or two to kind of work itself down there.
Hey, Chris, before we wrap up, I understand that you have a new project going on. Could you tell us about it?
Sure. Yeah. Let me. So I'm working on this new project with my team here, and my daughter as well. The program's called Early Start, and what it is we are helping children become entrepreneurs. They're building their own micro website businesses, a one-page website where they follow it. It's like gamified. So these kids, as they build these little websites, each level of building it is like a level. They get rewards. They can use the rewards to buy things. And they end up learning how to create a website. They become their own mini boss, and they're selling products, whether they're physical or digital, online. And for example, my daughter has done this, and it's really incredible, the transformation that I've seen with her. She actually wanted to create a website. And so one day we decided, hey, let's record it. Let's do this whole process. And we went out and we built a dog treat business. She loves animals, so she wanted to make homemade dog treats. And we baked them. We did a photo shoot of these different shaped dog treats that we made, put this website together. And she woke up in the morning after we shared it on our social network. That she had all these sales. She did hundreds of dollars in sales. She's been baking cookies, and she's got her own email list now. She writes her own little emails. She feels like her own like little boss, and absolutely loves it. And now she's teaching her friends how to do it, to sell bracelets and all kinds of other things. And it really is just absolutely amazing. She feels completely free. She can do whatever she wants. She's got like 5 businesses lined up. All of her friends are chomping at the bit to get everything built. And so the whole goal here is to teach kids to become independent, learn how to market and build from a very basic kind of high level to get their feet wet and to potentially make more money than their teachers by the time they graduate. And it's just really exciting. We're trying to reach millions of people around the world, kids and families, to take part. It's like the ultimate school project or homeschooling project. It only takes about an hour or so to do. So it's pretty exciting, and the impacts last forever.
Sounds great, Chris. I appreciate you spending the time to teach the kids, help the kids out. Last question, though. Are her dog treats outperforming silver and gold right now?
They are. Yes, she's outperforming gold and silver because she's selling lots of treats.
Chris Vermeulen from the technicaltraders.com. We thank you for your time and hope we can do this again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Chris Vermeulen from the technicaltraders.com offering his silver short-term synopsis. As always, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to keep it liquid, keep it real, and I'll see you on the next episode of Metal Money.